Yeah, like in terms of like any of my non-hip hop like podcast listening, it's pretty much all Ringer Universe and Joe Rogan. Yeah, because I fucking love the Mismatch too with Verno and Kevin O'Connell. That's my NBA shit.
Big Rogan guy, huh?
Yeah, I like Rogan.
What do you like about him?
I just like the fact that like anybody who comes like like he'll have a crazy conversation with like a comedian, and then he'll have another conversation with like some dude who's like self-efficient setting up like farmland grid, and then another guy who like talked about like fucking like mapping out the old world. You know what I mean? I mean, he did an interview with a guy who went and investigated the mines in Congo, the cobalt mines in Congo. That was fucking crazy. That like, I just feel like if Joe Rogan, there's enough. It's just such a vast range of conversations.
Gives you more tools in your intellectual tool belt.
And I wouldn't even say that. It's just kind of like, because I don't agree with everything that's said on the podcast. You know,
like the nigger word.
Well, yeah, I mean,
wait. You do agree with the nigger word.
I didn't say that.
Well, see,
look at what you did there.
This is the way. This is why you got to be careful, because like
you're fucking. You know what?
This is
TMZ level bullshit.
This is
now.
where yeah. Well, you think I learned it? This is where you got to be. This is where you got to be careful. This is where you got to be careful. Because I could make that. I could make that clip look a crazy way. In my head, that's what I can make that clip look crazy. Like
no, you can't make it look that crazy.
Yes, I can. On Joe Rogan, I'm like the nigger word, which is a joke, and you went well.
No, I mean, well,
you said you don't agree with everything.
I don't agree with everything. And that's obviously that.
Word, and you're like, well, like
no, obviously I don't agree with that. No, obviously I don't agree with.
You're trying to. This is what we're gonna do.
What were your thoughts?
I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna clip this
and try to ruin it.
And then I'm gonna put it out there, and I'm gonna do this whole thing in kayfabe. I'm gonna do
wrestling terms.
I'm gonna do this whole thing. I'm gonna clip this piece of this interview. And I'm gonna put it out there. I'm gonna put it on Twitter. It's gonna you're gonna like it. I'm gonna say, Bootleg Kev hesitates to answer whether or not I'm teaching everybody right now how to cook a headline.
Yo, what's the point and shoot? Here you go.
I'm teaching everybody right now how to cook a headline. This is how you cook a headline. When you're writing a headline, there are three things you need. Number one, conflict.
Yeah.
Like, for example, black iPhone on desk, no conflict. Right? How do you inject conflict into that headline about the black iPhone on the desk?
How?
Device made by child slave labor in China left on desk. Now you have something that is...
It'll peak. You'll be like,
oh, what is this device that was made by child?
Let me see what it
labor?
is. Let me click on this.
What is this? Why do we need children to make this device? What's the thing? What it is? That's the way you do that headline. One headline is, I don't care about an iPhone being on the desk, but something that kid slaves made. I care about that. Click on the headline. Okay.
Oh, it's an iPhone. Fuck.
It's an iPhone, right?
Selective outrage.
Right. Now you go in there. Now by the time you get to the fact that it's an iPhone, gotcha, bitch. You didn't click my shit. Aha.
Yeah.
Dummy. It was just about an iPhone that someone left on the desk.
Did you, I mean, is that...
Let me finish,
go ahead.
Please.
I'm listening.
Cactus tea. Now, we take you, right? And I asked you a question. You balked at it. I'm not sure why. But if I cut it off right, if I cut it off right there, I don't have to lie. It's not a lie. I can do it two ways. I can either ask a question that incites conflict,
okay,
which is...
By the way, is this TMZ 101?
Yeah.
Okay.
Watch Bootleg, and there are people much better at it than I was.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
I was in terms of like
headline writing?
Yeah, like much better, right? Watch Bootleg Kev hesitate when asked if he supports Joe Rogan's N-word use. Now, you could do it that way. I wouldn't do that because that's leading too much. It's actually not the type of headline I would watch. Bootleg Kev. I'll probably put it in quotes. Bootleg Kev on Joe Rogan's N-word use. Well, and I'll put that in quotes. And I will put that in quotes. I will do like whatever you said. I will put Bootleg Kev because then this is what I want. What I want in the headline, number one.
My name, SEO.
I don't want your name. God bless you.
No, in the headline.
Whose name do I want?
Joe Rogan's.
That's the name I
Yeah,
want.
true.
So I want Joe Rogan's name in the headline.
That's fair,
Okay.
yeah.
So I want Joe. I might even do this. I might even put above the headline, I might put Joe Rogan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I might put podcaster Cactus T agrees or balks or hesitates when asked if he likes N-word usage on Joe Rogan Experience. Boom, we're going everywhere. Now, then this is what I'll do. Then I'll take the clip of Joe Rogan saying the N-word over and over and over again. That's a sub asset in the post. That's at the bottom of the post.
Oh, this sounds how I see it.
This is how you do it. Then as a sub asset at the bottom of the post, and then I put tags. And all throughout there, I got hyperlinks. I got Rogan's apology in the post. I got Rogan saying the N-word in the post. I got the whole 9.
Yeah.
And then I leave off on a question.
I'm wondering, because you obviously worked at TMZ, right? You're, you have one of the more famous moments ever.
Yeah.
Was there ever anything you were a part of over there that you ever like regretted later on in terms of like maybe a particular story or like what you just told me?
You like that?
Like you just walked me through this whole thing, which was essentially your job. Was there ever anything you look back on and you're like, damn,
that I was a part of,
that you were a part of, or
there are plenty of things that happened at TMZ that I was embarrassed about.
Not even just that you were at TMZ for, but like maybe it was a story you wrote that maybe you got wrong initially. Maybe you felt like it was an unfair approach to that person that after you got later context, you maybe, were like, fuck.
Oh, see, here's the thing about me. There is one time, and there's something that I learned from it. There was one time where I did this whole thing with a porn star that I found out wasn't sleeping with black talent, right? Okay. And I named the porn star. The way I would do that now, because it was kind of like I'm on TV, it's early, and I'm reckless. I'm just, hey, I found out that this porn star that everyone likes doesn't sleep with black talent. And
who was the porn star?
On camera. Well, if I do that now, it makes no sense.
True. Okay, go ahead.
So if I found out that they didn't sleep with black talent, and so I asked a question about it, and they weren't into porn. So the entire room, they don't really know what's going on, right? So they're like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. Harvey goes crazy. He loves the story. They put it up. They put her up there. They do the whole thing. Now, to me, is it a relevant conversation to have about racism in porn or why certain porn stars won't do scenes with black guys? Sure, it's a relevant conversation. But it's such a widespread thing that's probably unfair to make one person the face of that, right? If you're going to talk about it, the way you talk about it and not make one person the victim of a lot of vitriol when that person might not necessarily be a racist, is you just say, hey, you ask the same question, because I asked somebody on the street, I said, hey, blah, 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 doesn't do that, then I name the person. You just say, hey, my favorite porn star, or porn star I like, or whatever, like that. And then you have the same conversation, you get the same feel.
Just remove the name.
But somebody doesn't have to bear the brunt of it.
Because it's an industry-wide thing.
It's not an industry-wide thing. Only certain people do it.
No, I'm talking about just the racism in porn in general.
Racism in porn is an industry-wide thing. Yeah. And I don't have any problem talking about that. And I don't have any problem asking somebody, okay, well, then what's the reason that you wouldn't work with black talent? Like, what is that reason? Because it's such a fundamentally troubling thing to me. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, you'll do all of this, but like not that. Mm-hmm. I mean, later on, I figured out that I've talked to enough people, black and white, and they told me that there are just straight up business reasons for it. Whatever, it's their industry. I'm not going to get involved with it. They can fight their own battle. But what I'm saying is, whatever it is, forget about it. Whatever it is, what I have to do is be really intentional when I want someone to wear a problem.
Right.
When I want to put a problem on somebody, when you're on television, when you have a microphone in front of you, you have to be super intentional when you call somebody out. Because when you call somebody out, you make them the issue that you're talking about. And they have to have earned that to such a degree.
Right.
That you have to be so sure about that, or else you just don't care about your own responsibility. That's something that I regretted, or something that I learned to do differently. As far as stories that I might have broken, to be honest with you, not really, and I'll tell you why. The stories that I was involved with, they weren't that big a deal. Like my job at TMZ, I wrote a lot of stories, but my job at TMZ, especially after the first couple of years, because I was on the street. No,
Well, you started with like the tours, right?
I was on the TMZ tour, and then I was on the street, right, with the camera. Sometimes those interactions I would regret.
Just like running up on somebody like.
Yeah, and it's because I'm from the South, and for the most part, that job was fun. And for the most part, celebrities in Los Angeles, they know the deal.
They're cool.
They're cool. They're down to have a good time. But every once in a while, you put the camera on somebody and you look, and they'd have that look of, I'm really having a fucked up day. Like something's going on with me. Like something's happening, or you put your camera on somebody and they would be like, I don't know, crying, or they would be sad, or they're with their kids.
Was there a specific instance you can recall?
Not really. Not a specific one that I can recall. Of course you would have people get mad at you, but not one where I felt that I can recall that I felt really, really bad about. But I just know that there were certain times to where I was like, oh, they're not fucking feeling this today.
The paparazzi game is such an interesting one. I always have been like super intrigued by it. Like I watched, did you ever see the Netflix show? It was only one season where they, like the ambulance chasers, who they go and they get the footage on like accidents and then they sell it to like the news stations and
Like
stuff
Stringers? Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy show. I forget what it was called. So good. It was actually like a Netflix original. But like on the paparazzi side, it's like someone's going to do that job, right? Mm-hmm. Those people like have to, I mean, if that's their profession, like I'm sure paparazzi have kids, they have families, they got to support themselves. Was it like, are there like people who have just been doing this job? Because it feels like a means to doing something else. If you're doing that job.
No.
Or there are people who like, they're
sure.
30 years.
They've been doing it for a long time. Been doing it as long as they can do it for, right? Because there's always somebody new, and
because I think of like the guys who get like the real private photos, and I'm like, damn. Like,
so let me tell you something about that or anything. There are very few jobs, any type of job that you can do that are completely devoid of integrity. Like drug dealing is bad. We act like it's not, but it is.
oh, it's terrible.
Drug dealing is bad, right?
Yeah.
There are levels to drug dealers. There's a way to do drug dealing, to deal drugs.
And we're talking about serious drugs here.
Talking about serious drugs.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
if you're,
There are a way to deal drugs to do less harm than somebody else. Like, hey, I won't deal drugs to a
kids.
7-year-old kid. I won't deal drugs to a pregnant lady.
Right.
I won't deal drugs. Like, there are ways to do that. Now, it's all bad, right?
Right.
But there are ways to even do that with integrity, right? So if you look at being a paparazzi as an inherently bad thing, which, once again, it's part of a celebrity ecosystem. It's really not any different than anything else. Like, you're famous. Part of being famous is leveraging fame, and people take your picture. It's part of a celebrity ecosystem. It, in and of itself, is not bad. However, the nature of the job sometimes can lend itself to being hyper-competitive. And when it's hyper-competitive, then that means that the humanity of the subjects on the other side of the camera are not being taken into consideration.
right.
So if it's, and the same thing about anything else, it's, I gotta be first, I gotta get the picture exclusive.
The raciest photo.
I gotta get the raciest photo, so I'll stick my camera up your dress. So I'll doorstep you, which means I'll be outside of your house waiting for you to come outside your house. Don't know what's gonna come outside your house. Doorstepping people, which TMZ didn't do. I'll incite you. I'll put the camera in your face and ask you about your friend who died, to try to get you to cry or try to make you mad, because that picture's gonna go everywhere. Because once it gets hyper competitive and the capitalism gets involved, then that makes you look at the person as you're a big game hunter now. You're not a photographer anymore. Now you're trying to get someone.
You're trying to get something to sell to a site, right?
Right. So if you're a freelancer, if you're TMZ, you work for TMZ, right?
You got to abide by their rules.
Right. And like the way it's supposed to be at TMZ is like you pick your camera up, someone says, hey, I'm not into it, you shut your camera down, right?
To be respectful.
Right. It's more of an on-the-street interview than it is actually just snapping pictures. That is not to separate what TMZ paparazzi are doing from anybody else. I was on the street with a lot of different guys, and most of them are cool. Like, most of them are cool. But then you have some guys that don't give a fuck that are going to get the shot, however they're going to get the shot. And if they have to follow you for a little while, if they have to wait outside your kid's school, if they have to do all of that stuff, they're going to get it. And so what I'm saying is that's not indicative of the industry per se.
Right.
To me, it's indicative of what that person is willing to do to get an extra buck or to succeed.
Yeah. I think it's just like, I feel like living here, you kind of see it a little differently because like you said, like you'll talk to people and they'll like management will call and be like, yo, my client's leaving this restaurant at this time.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a lot of it.
Like a lot of it is that though. Like a lot,
management.
like for people who don't know, like, or the artists will even do it, right?
Oh my God, bro.
Or the artist or the actor or whatever, because they want to paint their narrative.
Yeah. I give you an example. Well, I don't want to say names, but there was a R&B singer who was a pretty big R&B singer at one time that I knew through a friend of mine. And, was at the Saddle Ranch in this big fancy car. And the three of us were eating at the Saddle Ranch, right? We were hanging out eating at the Saddle Ranch. And I was like, when you leave here, I said, you privacy, you on the low or whatever? And he goes, no, it's not at all. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna send a camera to you. I was like, no, as a matter of fact, I'm not gonna send a camera to you. I got my camera in the car, I'm just gonna shoot you. And we're gonna do a little thing for TMZ. And so car pulls out, it's like a big red Bentley or something like that, right? Recognizable guy, had hits. And I pulled the camera out. When I pulled the camera out and I start shooting him inside of this car, everybody starts coming around. Everybody's like, oh my God, who is that? And they know his face.
Right.
Like they probably wouldn't have bothered him any other time, but they know his face.
Right.
So everybody's going to, man, I get in my shit and I'm going back to the office and I get a call. Bro, that fucking shit was crazy, man. We ought to do that all the time. Bro, I needed that, bro. Like, I fucking needed that, man. We should do that all the time. And now you have somebody that wants to get shots. You have people that want want you to shoot them. That's a contact. That's someone that if they are ever involved in a story,
you could hit them.
Now that you have that relationship.
Right.
Or if someone tangential to them is ever involved into a story, with the story, now you have that relationship. So there is not, for the most part, at least while I was there, an adversarial relationship between TMZ and the celebrity at large. Most of the celebrities dig it. I don't know how it is now. Things have changed a little bit.
Of course.
But most celebrities dug it to me. And if they didn't dig it, they didn't have a problem with it.
They got it.
Right. Then there are some who just can't fucking stand it.
Like Iggy Azalea.
Iggy, Mel Gibson, the fucking like Owen and Luke Wilson.
Oh, they don't fuck with it.
Don't fuck with it. Like a lot of people like that don't fuck with it. And if I saw a black celebrity and they were in a situation to where, like, I remember one time I saw Golden Brooks, nice sweet lady, and she was eating. She was at she was actually with Regina King.
Oh shit.
They were eating. This is years ago.
Watchmen season 2, please. Fuck.
No, not Regina King. She was with Regina Hall. She was with Regina Hall, and they were eating at on Sunset. And I remember I was walking around with my camera, and I asked them, two black women. I'm not trying to. I asked.
They're trying to roll it, yeah.
Yeah, they were eating. I asked them, like, after you guys done, do you want to do a shot for? And they went, no. Move on.
Yeah.
Not a big deal. Somebody else will be around. You know. But it's just all of that stuff. Once again, it's part of an ecosystem. What I will say about TMZ is this: there is a lot of criticism that TMZ gets. Right.
Yeah.
From all kinds of people. Mm-hmm. You get criticism from TMZ. People will tell you, you worked there, you did this, you did that, all of that stuff. People hate TMZ, they hate it. Everybody is TMZ.
True.
Like, everyone is TMZ.
Because guess what? When you see that famous person, what do?
I mean that in two ways. Number one, when people know that you work there, it doesn't matter where you go. You go sit down at the nicest restaurant in LA. I'm in LA. I'm at Cut. I sit down. Somebody comes over. They know me from the show. Hey, just to let you know, Tom Hanks is going to be here in a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
like,
shit.
The valets, everyone wants to be a part of it. That's one.
Do you
thing.
tip them?
Yeah, if they give you a good,
yeah.
If they give you a good tip. Yeah, I would. And the other part of it is this: if you are an outlet or you are a radio station, you are a blog, your whatever, and you repurpose a TMZ story, meaning you report on what they reported.
Right.
You give the information that they got. You're TMZ.
Yeah, I mean, I've used TMZ so much.
Like you're
on the radio.
Like what they want more than anything is for other people to pick up the things.
Well,
that
I also think like,
and so my thing is, there have been so many places where even when I was working there and even after that, I've been criticized, right? And then I hear them say, according to TMZ, this and this and happened. If that's like, you can't have that both ways. If a place is too fucked up for you, either you're gonna say this place has to exist and you want them to be better, or you're not gonna fuck with them. And then on top of that, most of these other celebrities, I've had celebrities or people that I know directly criticize TMZ and what they've done, and then I'll see them when they have something to promote on TMZ Live. You can't do it that way.
Yeah. It's like you're gonna shit on TMZ, but then when you need us,
which by the way, when I was there were times where the website wasn't a little irresponsible. It was insanely irresponsible, downright racist, sexist, insensitive, the whole nine. When I was there, there was an attachment post 2016 to Donald Trump that TMZ did a lot of his bidding. I'm not at all caping for the organization, but what I'm saying is, with some place like that thrives on attention, the sharing of stories.
It's kind of like the Vlad thing, right? It's like people talk shit about Vlad, but then they'll go on his show when they have to promote their album or they need some clout or they're washed.
The reality is it's a massive platform.
Yeah, it's a huge platform.
And so people...
And I don't want to compare Vlad and TMZ because I don't want to do that because, you know...
Look, there's nothing inherently wrong with TMZ. There's
actually
inherently wrong with what Vlad is doing. Vlad is doing interviews. TMZ is doing celebrity news. The reality is, if you have a problem with it, the only way to really affect that problem is to not participate.
Yeah, don't
or
participate.
consume.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you can do.
Yeah.
And the reality is that the influence on the website and the platform on culture is too strong for anyone to really do that.
The way I look at
most people, some people,
what TMZ is like, they've been right. Like almost, I feel like when they're not right, they update the story in such a real time that it's like
very few times they're going to be inaccurate.
Yeah, and as a radio personality, I always like, yo, let's check TMZ. What's TMZ?
I'll give you an example. People said that TMZ was inaccurate on the Lil Wayne story. Remember that? Mm-hmm. Do you remember the story?
Was it when he got arrested?
All right, so I'm gonna do another TMZ. No, it wasn't when he was arrested. It was when he was sick.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Yes, when he was having his seizures.
Yeah. TMZ,
yes.
Lil Wayne.
I remember that.
This was one of the times that I caught some of the most hell. Okay. All right. So March 2013, TMZ reported that Lil Wayne was in a coma and received his last rites at Cedars-Sinai Hospital.
I remember this, yeah.
In Los Angeles. Okay. So let's look at. I'm gonna give everyone right now another little lesson, because here's the story right now. Let's look at it. So it's been updated a bunch of times right now, but
you originally wrote this story?
No, I didn't have anything to do with it. I was on the street at this time.
Okay.
So it says this. It says Lil Wayne is in ICU critical condition after suffering yet another seizure. We're told it doesn't look good. TMZ has learned. We broke the story. The 30-year-old rapper was rushed to Cedars-Sinai Hospital. First of all, prayers up for Wayne. Glad that Wayne is happy, healthy, and doing well. Of course. Just using this as an example. This is one of the things. So all of this stuff that is being alleged in here is being confirmed through sources. So someone is telling someone this.
Right.
Okay. Someone is telling someone that this is what is going on. Okay. So let me tell you what a lie is journalistically here. Is that person isn't telling us that if we're making that up. Right now, so when they say Lil Wayne is in critical condition and he's being read his last rites.
A source had to have said that.
No. If a source says that and then it is put up on TMZ and it's attributed to sources, then that story is legit, right? If the source said it. If the source said that, then the story is legit. Now, if Lil Wayne pulls through The source said, hey, it doesn't look good. That's that person's objective
interpretation
opinion,
of what's going on. Yeah.
Doesn't look good. Somebody came in like they're preparing for something. Objective opinion. Now Lil Wayne rebounded and the whole world went. TMZ lied. It was never that big of a deal. Give people an example of something. You're married. I'm not calling this on your marriage. I'm just using this as an example. If you got brothers or sisters?
One sister.
Got one sister. If I walk into a restaurant right now and someone says, or if I'm on the basketball court and someone that I've never met before says, hey, you know Bootleg Kev, I saw you on this podcast. And I'm like, yeah. It's like, Bootleg Kev is getting a divorce. Knock, knock. Bootleg Kev is not getting a divorce. God protect this marriage. Says Bootleg Kev is getting a divorce. If I run to the website and put that up on the website, that's an irresponsible story.
Because who's your source?
Who's my source? You have a sister.
My sister tells you.
If your sister tells me,
right?
If your sister tells me,
then it's like, well, that's a source.
Sources close to Bootleg Kev say the marriage is on the rocks and divorce is
on the
imminent.
table or something. Yeah.
If you do not get divorced, that does not make that story less true. The story is not you getting divorced or not getting divorced. The story is your sister, who they don't know who she is. You're not going to out your source.
Right.
Told us that you were getting divorced. The strength of that, and that goes for journalism everywhere. Hey, before the Dobbs decision is coming out, somebody gets a hold of the opinion that somebody wrote, or someone like, this hasn't leaked yet, but according to sources that tell ABC News, this information is coming out. Well, if the information doesn't come out, ABC News would be embarrassed, of course. And so you have to do your due diligence with the sources that you have, that they're not going to double back on you.
Right.
But the reality of the situation is, if you have a source and that source is ironclad and that source is in with whomever you're talking about, that's a go on that story. The question about whether or not you would report something that's that serious unless you knew it
to be
1,000% true,
that's different.
Varies
platform to platform.
Platform to platform. Yeah. When you report about Michael Jackson and the fact that he had passed away, you haven't seen the body. You haven't checked his pulse.
Right.
You haven't done any of that stuff. You don't know. When you report on Prince, like you haven't seen his dead body.
Right.
Somebody that knows him really well said he was dead.
Yeah.
And so, and you know that to be true. You're staking your relationship with them in a journalistic way of them being a good source, right? So when I say that they're normally right, it's if something is factually correct or factually incorrect, it normally won't go up on the site. I'll talk about one story that I did have. Jason Pierre-Paul, the football player, remember him?
JPP. Fireworks incident, maybe?
Yep. I knew about that hours before it happened. Hours. Like hours before it happened. Somebody hit me and literally went, hey man, JPP just blew his hand off with some fireworks. Hours before it happened. It ended up, because that was on 4th of July, right? And so it ended up happening maybe at a certain time. It was on the East Coast, and I couldn't ever put it up on the site. I couldn't put it up on the site because I couldn't confirm it. I couldn't get a picture of it, right? I couldn't get any of that stuff, right? I could have gone on the source that he did that, but it's such a finite thing that when it's this has happened, not this will happen, but this has happened, I either need to be able to talk to somebody that saw the hand and can give me pictures of the hand. I need to be ironclad because I can't put that up
and then it not be true.
Because that's a straight up lie.
It either happened or it didn't happen.
It's either happened or it didn't happen. That's a straight up lie.
Yeah.
So guess what?
That's fair.
We put it on the story. We couldn't get it.
Right.
The guy who did get it, I think it was Schefter.
Probably, yeah.
He violated HIPAA laws to get it. Because he got the shit. I remember him getting in trouble. I don't want to say if it wasn't Schefter, so because I don't want to get in trouble.
You don't want to but somebody.
You take out the Schefter thing.
Okay.
There was actually somebody who did get it that violated HIPAA laws to get the story and ended up getting in trouble. We weren't going to do that. We weren't going to call. We weren't going to call any hospitals to try to get it. We were calling any doctors to try to get it. I was trying to get deeper into his inner circle to have someone give me a picture of the hand.
Damn, that's crazy. I feel like that world, the Schefter, like the Shams versus Woj world. That shit's crazy. It's like the sports TMZ.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we have TMZ Sports, so it was the same thing, but we didn't do contract stuff. It was more lifestyle stuff around the guys. But it's the same thing. A trade is about to happen, like at 3 hours from now.
Yeah.
They send it to Woj.
Send it to Woj.
They send it to Woj. Woj bomb. Boom. What if they didn't take the deal off the table? Did Woj lie? No. Somebody told him that. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.